we broke $100 billion for the first time since the great financial crisis in 2021. In 2021, we saw over $110 billion in CMBS issued, which was a 14-year high, and it doubled 2020's number. It was about 15% greater than 2019's. One thing to note about the 2021 volumes was that it was lopsided, with SASB representing about 80 billion of the total. On conduit was a much smaller slice of the pie. Interestingly as well were CRE CLOs, commercial real estate collateralized loan obligations. They were also in demand at about 45 billion in 2021 issuance, which more than doubled its previous high before the pandemic at about 19.2 billion. So what contributed to the outperformance of SASB? It's pretty interesting that if you kind of look at the statistics, the SASB delinquency rate has remained very low at about 2% versus upwards of about 6% for conduit currently. Some of the drivers behind the SASB issuance include institutional quality assets and sponsorship that are in demand by investors. There are larger loans, and they have heightened capital liquidity of the borrowers. So these large borrowers are able to withstand any cash flow deficits that were caused by the pandemic. Any risks that we see going forward to continuing the momentum that we saw in 2021? Well, there's a small handful that we're keeping our eye on. One is, we went through a coronavirus-induced roller coaster ride over the past couple of years. So we're looking for a potential coronavirus resurgence. We don't think it's a huge risk, but there's always a possibility, coupled with the uncertainty of new variants, as well as any imposition of new mandates. The other risk that we're keeping our eye on is heightened inflation. So with higher inflation comes higher interest rates, which could be a risk to growth. But we don't think that that's going to put the brakes on CMBS issuance to any large degree.